This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites, a no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better media host or looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month free. And with that said, enjoy the show.
This is the Limitless Keith Lee, and I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open podcast. Mwah.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 197, creeping ever closer to that number 200 mark. My name is Nick Howell.
And for 2 hours, I was promised someone would eat dog food, and I'm still waiting. Where is the dog food eating? Give me what I want. I want what I want. Give it. Never mind. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to the show. And as you might be able to tell, it was an interesting week in wrestling. We had AEW, NXT, SmackDown happen, New Japan, New Beginning in Sapporo. It was a hell of a week, Nick. Fallout from the Royal Rumble over on the main roster in WWE. So lots to discuss. We're kind of starting to build up for the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. NXT is building up for NXT TakeOver Portland, which I wanted to go to, but it's going to cost me $1,000 something to get up there. So I might have to skip that one. But yeah, so it's been a hell of a week, Nick.
It has.
Were you entertained?
We'll talk about that. For the most part, it was a lot of meh.
Ooh, a lot of meh?
A lot of meh. A lot of
really?
Meh going on this week for sure.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do the housekeeping, and then I want you to tell me why it was meh this week, sir. But get into that housekeeping, and we'll get there.
Yes, indeed. Well, guys, definitely come over and join us on Facebook. As always, it is the hub of our operation. Just go to facebook.com and search for Busted Wide Open, and you will find our page. Hit that like on our page and send us a join request to get into the discussion group with the rest of the phenomenal ones, because we post all kinds of fun memes, news stories, have some great positive civil chats that go on in there, and we aim to keep it that way. It's not one of those groups where it can get all sideways. Happens from time to time, but old Sheriff McDonald keeps us in shape over there.
Tip of the sheriff.
In the Facebook discussion group. Sheriff. You can also find us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, and pinned across all of our social media profiles, as well as in the description below if you're watching here on YouTube, is a link to our Discord server where you can get access to live chats all throughout the week, all the time, for every promotion as they go on, as well as dedicated chat channels for all of the pay-per-views as they happen, such as Royal Rumble last weekend. We're going to have one for AEW Revolution coming up here, as well as TakeOver Portland, as you were just describing, Sir Ian Dangerous.
Oh,
so
yes.
Make sure you get into our Discord community as well. Think of it this way. Facebook group, live chats happen outside of that, so we keep all the spoilers out of the group. So make sure you're into both, because two different purposes there. Last but certainly not least, make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube, because in case you didn't know, if you're listening to us on audio right now in your car on your drive, we have a YouTube channel. And it might be breaking news to you if you just started listening to us recently, but yeah, we do live stream twice a week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, as we are today. And we do our patron mailbag as a live stream immediately after we're done with this show right here on Saturdays around 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you come over to youtube.com/bustedwideopen, subscribe to the channel, make sure you jingle that little notification bell as well so you get alerts anytime we go live or put up new content. And a big thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. You continue to show up and you continue to give us your hard-earned dollars every single month. And if you guys would like to get in on some of those exclusive rewards, you can head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those reward tiers there where you can get copies of show notes, access to some sweet swag, bonus episodes, Skype calls with Nick and Sir Ian Dangerous, all kinds of good stuff over at patreon.com/BWO. Ian, we've got a lot to get into this week, so I don't want to waste a lot of time, but let's kick things off with All Elite Wrestling.
John Moxley is your number one contender. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, stop. Oh, make it stop. Make it stop.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Ow. Oh, God. Owie.
I hope that hurt you. Number one contender, John Moxley, came out, cut a promo. He doesn't like bullies, Nick. Not a fan of bullies. That was the theme of the show. Was one-eyed John Moxley, Pirate King John Moxley. Nino be liking the bullies. I can't tell if I should make fun of him for being a pirate or a solid snake, but he still got that eye patch going. He was on New Japan last night. He was still wearing the eye patch.
Yeah.
My man is keeping kayfabe. He's keeping kayfabe.
Perhaps he's going to be down in Tampa to plunder some booty.
He'll have a number one fan in Kairi Sane. True. She likes the pirates. In case ye didn't.
And he likes the booty.
You knew that had to come at some point. All right. So Mox doesn't like bullies. And he basically said so in the ring. He said, I have a code. Jericho doesn't have a code. And Chris Jericho, of course, came out to respond. But he didn't come alone. He came out with all of the Inner Circle, plus like 5 other dudes from the South Bronx. And they all came down to fight Moxley. So it's 10-on-1. And Moxley's fighting them off. The security guards get involved to try to pull them apart. Moxley kills a security guard for some reason, not one of the actual bad guys. All right, fine. And he goes off and hangs out in the crowd. So big brawl just to kick us off here.
Good times.
And then the closing of the show was Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz versus Private Party and Darby Allin. And after Jericho gave an absolutely amazing-looking Judas effect to Isaiah Cassidy, who sold it. He sold it like death. Great looking.
He sold it like seizure.
Yes. Yeah, well, as posted in the Facebook discussion group, that does happen when you get knocked out. Your body can go rigid and you can seize up.
You get hit straight in the nose right there. Your body's not going to like that too much.
No.
There was some controversy over whether or not. Look, we've seen the twitching. We saw Edge do it with his hand on Monday night. We saw it happens, right? And it does. Good selling, but I can understand there's a line there where you're not sure whether somebody's selling or they're really hurt, and that is the whole point of the referee coming over when you see them grab their hands and they check. So everybody calm down.
Giving away the secrets, Nick. Giving away the secrets.
I know.
So, so he sold it like death. And then afterwards, the beatdown commenced. They started to attack Darby Allin, gave him a throat buster on his own skateboard, like just was messing him up. But Moxley's not going to stand for that, Nick. And he came down with a baseball bat to even the odds and chase everybody off. So
I popped.
So here we at the end of this, we have Darby Allin, who's kind of not really doing anything, and John Moxley, who's the number one contender. Do you think that now there's going to be an alliance there? Or was Moxley just like, you were being bullied. I don't give a shit about you, kid. Like, would you like to see like a bit of an alliance happen between Moxley and Allin?
I don't want it to, but I wouldn't be mad at it. I like mercenary, in business for himself, Moxley. Doesn't care about face or heel. Doesn't care about anything. He's just Mox, and he just wants to whoop people's ass. And if you cross him, it doesn't matter if you're a good guy or a bad guy, he's going to whoop your ass. That's the Moxley I like. I think that's the Moxley that has gotten over this huge. But that place was roaring for some John Moxley Wednesday night, for sure. Yeah,
and it's inarguable he's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest guy in AEW. But, obviously this reason that he's there. He's a top dude. So I'm very curious what they're going to do with him now having this title opportunity against Jericho, because what if he loses? What are you going to do then? And if he wins, then what are you going to do? I'm shocked they're having this program this quickly.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah.
I'm curious how they deal with the Darby Allin situation getting there. I think that could be actually, you could have some really good TV with the dynamics between Moxley and Allin. You know, Moxley, as you say, being kind of a mercenary out for his own good kind of guy, and Darby Allin being a, you know, hot topic kid with nothing to lose and doesn't give a crap about anything. And
Yeah.
that could be a fun dynamic if they realize that they had some similar interests. So, yeah, and I also like I don't know about you, but I like the fact that Jericho has a lot of nuance to his champion character. Like, he can absolutely kill you. He's actually going to be, you know, in a match, he is dangerous. He can beat the best in the world, but he's also not afraid of looking silly.
Right.
And I like that. I think that's fantastic. It shows a lot. There's sometimes in WWE they get into the mode, like Vince gets kind of tunnel visioned, where if someone's silly, they can only be silly, right?
Right.
I still remember when Seth was champ and he was the that kind of like squirrely heel champ. He could never be strong. Like there was a couple of times where he looked reasonably strong, but always in the end he would not be strong, right?
Right.
He always had to rely on his little goons to help him. Jericho can handle his own business if need be, but he's not afraid of looking goofy in a situation if it calls for it.
But he recognizes
great.
that he doesn't have to when he's got friends around. So even what makes him even more of a dick is he's got people to do his dirty business for him. Yes, when backed into a corner, he can absolutely whoop some ass. And
Right.
when he's in a match, he can do that. But I think the thing that escalates that to the next level for him is that he does take advantage of his goons, of everybody
Sure.
around, as often as possible, so that he doesn't have to sweat. He doesn't have to exert anything, right?
Well, it's kind of like John Moxley, where you're having your cake and eating it too. Where I think at this point, Moxley's kind of playing the character that every young boy at 14 years old wants to play: the strong, independent badass, doesn't need any help, you know, can get the job done. He's playing that guy. He's like playing the guy that every wrestler wants to be. I want to be the cool guy. Well, not everyone gets to be the cool guy. Well, Moxley gets to be the cool guy.
I was a little more Darby Allin.
Comes out of the audience and like, oh, all the fans love me, but I don't really give a crap about anything. But at the same time, I have a heart of gold. But I'm a psychopath. But I also, you know my limits. But I also have no limits. He's basically getting he gets everything that he wants. You know what I mean? I can go and face off against Minoru Suzuki in New Japan, and he'll sell for me. You know, but at the same time, like, be all snuggly with my wife, Renee Young.
Here's the difference for me. Moxley is the high school quarterback that every kid looks up to in a way. Darby is the emo kid that's out in the parking lot smoking cigarettes and giving the finger to the rent-a-cop security guard. And I'm a little bit of both of those in a way. Because I was a math and band nerd, but I was also kind of a little bit of an athlete. And, you know, so it was this weird chameleon thing that I had to do to play with both.
You saw both of these cats.
Yeah. I saw both of these archetypes in high school for sure.
Right. Well, if Moxley was the quarterback, you had some bad boys as quarterbacks.
Yeah, right.
At your high school. Good Lord. Anyway, so also on the show, Butcher and Blade. We saw where Butcher and Blade live, or work at least. We had MJF go and give them a whole stack of cash to take out the Young Bucks.
That was pretty cool. They turned it over and it said Young Bucks on it. And no words were said. I actually really liked this vignette.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing they should have had before we saw Butcher and Blade in the first place.
Didn't we say this about Dark Order?
Yeah, it's the same problem. Is why didn't you define these guys like this before you brought them out, so that when you did bring them out, people wouldn't be sitting there going, "Who are you?"
Yeah,
they'd be like, "Oh, it's those scary mercenary guys," and they still can't win a damn match. They lost to the Bucks again. They're being hired to go take out the Bucks, and they lose. Now, to their credit, they did beat up the Bucks after the match, but then they got chased off by Omega and Hangman Page, or Beer Man Page, or whatever he's Hold My Beer Page.
Right.
I'm disappointed in how they're handling Butcher and Blade, because they don't feel like a real threat. Every time they do, they kind of go, okay, but not really.
Yeah. How cool would it have been, though, to reinforce the point, if we had just seen MJF, he turns on Cody, he has Wardlow, but all of a sudden we just see this random vignette. We'd never seen Bunny or Butcher and Blade, but we just see MJF and Wardlow walk into a slaughterhouse and hand these two dudes an apron. No words exchanged, and they turn it over like that. That right there for me I would have been over the moon about something like that. Now I don't really. It's like, all right. It's a bit of a numbed reaction. But if they had
it's not what
done
it
it
would
in the
be
inverse,
if the mystery of if we didn't know who these guys were and he just showed up and gave them and then they were like creepy and they're in his like actual butcher whatever it was, like meat rendering plant, and who are these guys? Why is he giving them money? And then when they show up, you go, oh God, they're here to take out the Bucks. It's a totally different reaction. So yeah, definitely something that they should have done kind of the other way around.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't think it's too little, too late. It was still fun, but should have been done sooner. That being said, looking like Hangman Page still having some beef with the Bucks and Omega. He comes in and pretty much lays out the guys. He's the last person in, and he's still able to buckshot Larry even though he's drunk. So, but my question here is, the Bucks actually like kind of are acting like dicks to him. You know what I mean? Like they're being interviewed backstage after all this. And the Bucks are saying, "Oh, we're going to go for the tag titles," and Omega goes, "All right, you guys can if you want, I guess. We'll figure that out when we get to it." And Hangman comes in, he's like, "Oh, check out our new belts. Look, it's got our names on it." And the Bucks are like, "Whoa, hey, buddy, what's going on?" But then they start to just act really pompous to him as well. No one's really likable here, Nick. Like Hangman's charming and he's being kind of a dick, but it's kind of because the Bucks were a dick to him first. I don't know how to feel. How are you feeling about this?
Why are they messing with Hangman? Dude's just having a beer.
All right. He was feeling down about his role in the Elite, and then they kind of reinforced that.
Yeah.
They kept ignoring him and kept treating him like a kind of a
No wonder he doesn't
sort of,
want to be in that group. They're
no
treating
wonder
him like
he wants to be
shit.
drunk. Yeah. and then he comes in and he actually like does good, and he wins the tag titles single-handedly, which he genuinely did. And then everyone's kind of like, yeah. Well, look how happy we are for Kenny Omega that he's a tag champion. Like, it's like a Saturday morning cartoon of friends being dicks to each other. The problem is that I'm not sitting here going, man, I can't wait for Hangman to show those Bucks who's boss. But I'm also not like, man, they really need to get control of Hangman because he's unreasonably out of control. I'm kind of on both sides and on neither side.
Yeah.
The way that they're playing this. And
I'm kind of in the sit back and
what
eat
should I
popcorn
think?
and watch this develop over time side. Like I don't want to keep doing what you're doing because it's kind of working. So let's see how let's see if they can take this sort of New Japan style of long-term storytelling and bring it to the American fast food audience.
I guess yes, and I guess there is part of me that's kind of like, tell me what I should think, but there's also a part of me that's like, no, really, like, what am I supposed to be taking away from this? Like, who am I supposed to like nobody in this? Because that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Who should I be? Give me something to tell me like who I should actually be liking in this, because I don't see that right now.
No.
I'm actually over here going, can we get Butcher and Blade win? Like, can we get them a win? I mean, nice, please.
Can we get a women's division? Anybody?
We'll get to that, Nick. We'll get to that. But first, we have to get to Cody versus Kip Sabian. First time I think we've really seen Kip on a big stage. Had the big match. And boy, they tried to fit a lot into this match, didn't they, Nick?
Yeah, they did.
There was a lot going on. Penelope Ford interference, Arn Anderson getting involved and ultimately getting himself kicked out of ringside from getting too involved. Cody and the Joey Janela popping up in the crowd, interrupting Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford trying to kiss, which I felt was very WWE, but at the same time, like, kind of funny.
Yeah.
And at the end, Cody sucks it up and gives him 3 crossroads to put him down.
Finally put him down.
So, yeah. So all right. So our first real look at Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, their dynamic, keeping the Janela stuff alive, and Cody's having to gut through a win on somebody who shouldn't be on his level, but they're now apparently making so. So what did you think about all of this?
Listen, a lot of it has to do with like Penelope as a valet. I think she's fantastic in the ring. I feel like she's wasted talent, especially in a company that has a little bit of a weak women's division right now.
We don't know if she can work a full match. I mean, I've seen her; she can, but like, it's not. She can pull off the moves and the interference and make it look really good.
Sure. So I'd like to see more of that. That said, Kip Sabian's fantastic. Like, I have no problem with Kip Sabian and Cody having a feud. I just don't know if they have, from a brand perspective, if they have elevated Kip high enough yet to be with frankly, one of your top guys. He feels more like a mid-carder than a Cody or Jericho or Kenny Omega or something like that, right?
Sure, and that's why they had to have all of the extraneous stuff on this. The Arn Anderson interference, the Penelope Ford interference. Kip Sabian's kind of, he's fighting above his weight a little bit here.
Yeah.
And they've got to have a reason for this match to go on for a time. And that was all the interference. So otherwise, Cody should be able to mop the floor with this kid. And that's kind of the story we're being told, is Kip's going to punch above his weight class with the help of Penelope Ford. And it's going to take everything that a guy like Cody has to stop him, if so.
My whole thing was, was Arn's whole point of coming out going, Cody, why are you wasting your time with this guy? Like, I understand the Janela and Sabian and Penelope Ford love triangle, that she's my ex, but she's still a pain in my ass. I get that. Like, that writes it. I understand it. I don't understand what the whole Arn thing was in this. And it's one of those that I should probably go back and watch again. I think they're trying to define Arn as being someone who's going to go to bat for Cody. The problem here was that he went to bat so much that it's like the coach in the baseball team. He goes there and starts kicking dirt on the umpire. He's going to get kicked out of the arena, and then you don't have a coach. So what was the point of him getting involved? And that was kind of what happened here, where Penelope kept getting involved so much, Arn kept getting mad at the ref until the ref was like, "You get out of here." So I don't see how Arn is showing that he's helping Cody in this situation, and Cody's apologizing to him and everything. So, yeah, I'm curious about that dynamic and what their long-term thoughts are with Arn and Cody being together. I suppose we'll see more as we get closer to Revolution, the cage match with Wardlow and the potential whipping he's going to get from MJF. I definitely want to see more of what their thoughts are as far as Arn and Cody's relationship, both working and business. So, yeah, some story to be told there. And I dig that. Nick, you mentioned the women's division. So I guess we got to talk about it. There's a couple of women's division things that happened this week. One, we had Nyla Rose versus Big Swole, which was not great. This also following a also not great showing on AEW Dark the night before against Shauna. I can never. She's the Portuguese chick that they make a big deal about her being from Portugal. For whatever reason, it did a tope, and it looked like Nia was supposed to catch her, but Nyla. I'm gonna start calling her Nia Rose. If this shit keeps up, all right. But at the end of the day, that's 2 nights in a row to just kind of ugly incidents and matches.
And yet, I think Nyla was the better looking one in this match. I thought Swole looked like crap. Like, just was outright missing with some of her strikes. And the problem that I saw, and again, Nick, you and I aren't wrestlers, so to try and diagnose this would be a bit out of our pay grade. However, I was trying to put my finger on what looked like crap. And one of the things that I was seeing was that she tends to have this cockiness and swagger, which she should. But the problem is when you have that cockiness and swagger and you're not doing moves well, they're not connecting, they don't look good, it makes you look green. It makes you look amateur. And that's how Big Swole looked in this. It looked like she was trying to execute moves and being cocky about how she was doing it, like having that swagger and like, that's right, I'm so great. But the problem was the moves looked like crap.
Yeah.
So have the moves look good and then celebrate how good your move you just did was. Yeah, it was the smooth. There was no smoothness to this match. It was not bueno. And usually, like, I see Nyla Rose actually kind of work pretty well, but something which was off about this match. We also
she's good at throwing tiny little Asian women around, but
that's for sure. She's good at being a big base for the little Japanese wrestlers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Britt Baker also cut a promo. It was better than her last week's promo, which was garbage.
It's not saying much.
Hot garbage. Well, this was better.
I like how she went in on JR. And he just sat there silent, taking it.
She went on everybody.
Yeah.
She went on a lot of people. And like hard too. And she had some good lines. Finally, Cleveland is a Baker they can trust. You know what I mean? Like that. Oh, ow.
Good.
So, yeah, but she went in on JR saying, hey, JR, I would like you to be the guy I remember from when I was a kid and, was amazing, one of the best announcers ever, not someone who gets our entire roster's names wrong. like that kind of like, oh damn.
Don't you ever interrupt and cut away from me like we called out last week they did because she's tanking,
Blah,
she's
blah,
going
blah,
down,
blah.
cut away, go to commercial.
Yeah. And then she also called out how like she's there every week and Riho's almost never there and she's the champ, which she got a point.
Fair point.
She got a point. So this was definitely like the content of this promo was very much better than last week. Delivery still hit and miss, but the content was a lot better. Definitely a couple of like stingers in this promo. So I have to give credit where credit's due. Like, I don't know if she wrote it, if she had help with writing it, or what it was, but there was some good stuff.
Yeah.
In this promo, and after last week, she needed that. She needed a redemption.
Yeah.
So at least there was that. But again, do you see her anymore as being someone you could see as the champ?
Not like I did last summer when they were first getting fired up.
You were really high on her.
I was really high on Britt Baker. She seemed like the one that they were going to make the face of the women's division, and it just never panned out, man. And I understand why. She's got some weaknesses, and they're improving. They're improving. I don't know if she's working better in a heel dynamic here. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I just, again, for me, it's I don't know if the American audience is going to get into the Joshi wrestlers. And I'm still kind of hung up on that a little bit. And I'm seeing women like Shanna and Chris Statlander, Penelope Ford, and I'm not trying to be like, they need to be like white blonde chicks. I'm not saying that.
No.
But I'm seeing like big, beefy wrestlers. Nyla had the biggest hope of them all. But if you watched Dark and Dynamite this week, there were two big mess ups on one on each show, and I'm just going,
yeah.
If you can't catch somebody doing a tope outside, you have no business.
It wasn't a good tope, but she should have come in more.
It was fine. She shouldn't have been back on the ramp.
Maybe she thought she was gonna, be like Phoenix and go 12 feet out of the ring.
Exactly.
Oh man. I mean that they have women that like, if you Hikaru Shida, you put her on TV a lot more. Like I look at Shida and I go, oh, you could really do something with her. So
yes,
it's also like what you're giving them too. So there's lots of problems in the women's division. Hopefully they start rectifying some of them soon, and I think they have. But I'll get to that in a second.
Yep.
SCU had a match against the Hybrid 2. And I would nice to see the Hybrid 2 on actual TV.
Yeah.
Not just on Dark. I'm wondering with them because both Angelico and Jack Evans are wildly talented wrestlers. I'm wondering why they are where they are in the tag division right now. And in AEW in general. I'm wondering if it's that they can't make a whole lot of dates and they only signed a contract for limited dates. I'm wondering if it's a long game and they're like, hey, you guys are going to be, enhancement for the first like 6 months to a year, and then we'll give you guys some pushes down the road, which, both of those guys would understand. We saw them both, Nick, on Lucha Underground. On that show, they did a great job of keeping some people simmering for most of a season. And then by the end of the season, they could do things with them. Like, the incredible storyline between Son of Havoc and Helico and Ivelisse in season 1 of Lucha Underground it was a whole season build for them to win the tag titles. It was awesome. So I'm wondering if that's what's happening here. But they did lose. They did lose to SCU. And then afterwards, the Dark Order is basically saying that they're targeting Christopher Daniels. So SCU steps down from the tag belts and say that they still want their shots at the tag belts, but it looks like Dark Order is hovering. Is that kind of a step down for both Dark Order and SCU, or could that be an interesting storyline because neither of them have really anything that else is going on right now?
I still don't know what to make of Dark Order yet. Are they entrancing and seducing people with their masks and their promises a la Scientology, or are they a cult that are possessing people like Nightmare Collective? I don't know what to make of them. What do they want them to be? What are they supposed to be?
Well, it seems to me like now they're kind of like the vindictive Scientology cult that wanted to get Christopher Daniels into it, but he said no. So they're like, well, fine, we're going to sue you to oblivion. Only in this case, suing means beating you up. So it's that's kind of what I was seeing with this, but which is fine. I'm not mad at that. And personally, I think that Dark Order SCU is kind of the level at which both of these teams should be working at right now, because there's just bigger fish in the pond. But I guess Christopher Daniels, he was kind of doing something with Pentagon Jr. there for a while too, and I don't know what they're doing with the Lucha Brothers.
What happened to the whole Fallen Angel thing when he came back from when Pentagon injured him? That like disappeared. It just out of nowhere just disappeared.
Now we're just going with the Dark Order angle, which okay, fine, if we're gonna pivot and do that. I'm intrigued, but yeah, I need to see more.
Christopher Daniels going to take the role that we thought Matt Hardy was going to take and assume control of the Dark Order?
I don't know. I mean,
I could get behind that.
It also depends on because here's the thing. A lot of people in WWE are getting paid right now because they're using the threat of AEW to get those contracts. Randy Orton did it. The scuttlebutt is that Matt Hardy might be doing it with all of this. Like, I might go to AEW. They're saying they'll give me head of Dark Order. I'm not saying WWE. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So, there's no real way of telling what the plans are until we hear about it's contract negotiation season. So, yeah, so we will have to wait and see. And maybe they're waiting to see what they do with Dark Order until they get that locked down.
Yeah.
And that's why there's kind of been a holding pattern here. Speaking of holding patterns, what's going on with Pac, man? What's going on with Pac-Man? What's going on with Pac?
They've moved Moxley on to Jericho.
He just let Moxley go. He got beat by Moxley clean last week, and now he's like hiding out in a Newcastle staircase talking about how like, all right, we'll have fun with Jericho. I'm going to go back to Omega. What? I mean, I know you had to get him back there, and that's some screwy logic. I didn't quite follow that.
No.
Like, a guy like Pac doesn't want revenge on Moxley for beating him clean for a #1 contendership to a title that he supposedly wants. He's still sitting here whining about how he doesn't get a rubber match with Omega. All right. I mean, it was a cool promo. It's all black and white and moody, and Pac is super angry.
Very Pac-y.
For some reason, like it's cold outside, but he's still just wearing his wrestling trunks.
He was at Darby Allin's house.
Right. All I ever wear is my wrestling trunks from Newcastle. I'm so sorry, everyone from Newcastle. You had to hear that. I'm so sorry. All right. So is it weird that Pac is still gunning for Omega, who's now a tag champ, as you say?
Yeah, but I think it's just a redirecting of the ship.
Of course,
we had the whole thing with Jungle Boy and Jericho, and now the next thing is who are we going to do after that? Moxley's really over right now. Let's do Moxley in an angle where he's going to join Dark Order, and like it's a much better story than Moxley Pac is. So I think put that on the back burner. It'll come back at some point. But I agree. Right. Just last week on the cruise, we had a bang up match with Moxley with one eye tied behind his back.
One eye tied behind his back? What?
He almost had both of his eyes covered with his whole solid state getup, and he still beats Pac clean. It's like there was no handicap. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that he comes out hot this week for Jericho's title.
Moxley can be he'll keel-haul ye with one eye. Tied behind his back, as Nick does be saying. Don't even know what that means. Yes, to me it just seemed like they needed to give us a little bit more logic with this whole Pac doesn't care about Moxley anymore. He's going to Omega. All right, I'm fine with that. Pac, Omega, give it to me. But just the logic could have done a little more work. Is it just me, Nick, or has Dynamite kind of overall been a little bit quieter in the first couple of weeks of this year than it was last year? Like it just feels a little bit more muted. The pop isn't quite there as much. Is it just me?
Nope.
I don't want to. By the way, I'm not in any way like doomsaying here and saying that they're losing their mojo. That's not a good program or anything. Because it's a very entertaining program, but it doesn't seem to have the sizzle. And I'm wondering if it's just me.
Since it debuted in October, this was the very first week that I kind of went, meh.
Really?
I've been transparent about it from the beginning. I watch AEW live. I want to see how this progresses over the course of a year, and I genuinely want to give it that amount of time. And every single week since they've debuted, I've been like, God, that was awesome. Yes. Yeah. And even the dark episodes that can be hit or miss sometimes, but most of the time it's like, God,
that was
just
good, solid
an hour
stuff,
of wrestling. Yes.
Yeah.
to fill in the Tuesday gap that we have now, all of a sudden, now that SmackDown has moved to Friday. It's great to have that in NWA Power. You got 2 hours of wrestling on Tuesdays now, too. Fantastic. And you get to Dark or Dynamite, and this week I was just like, Dark, all right. Yeah, Jurassic
Did you watch
Express
any Did you watch any Nightmare Family or Being the Elite this week?
No,
You seen the stuff about Brandy and Therapy for the Nightmare Collective?
I have not seen that stuff yet. Normally, I play catch up on the weekends on that stuff.
They're pulling the straight up plug. There's like, whoop, this didn't work. Whoop.
Good.
They're pulling the escape chute on the Nightmare Collective. It looks like, and well, bye. And that's actually, hey, you know what? That's this is the thing is that's actually a good sign when something is not working. If you're able to, even if it's not that elegant, even if it's just like a short, sharp stop to something, and you go, oh, never mind. But they actually have some sort of quick story reason for it. It's not like WWE where it just vanishes.
Right.
And you're like, what happened to that? They go, so all about that, never mind. And they'll give you a quick never mind something, and then we're moving on. All right, fine. If you realize something's not working and you're able to pull the plug on it that quickly and still give a quick outro goodbye little thing to it, I'm not mad at that because that means that they are being conscientious and aware about their product and what's working and what's not.
Absolutely. And there's a phrase I like to use, and it's fail fast. And
yeah,
experiment, try everything, break glass, fail fast, move on once it doesn't work, and try something else. And I applaud that stuff. I love experimentation. I love trying different things. But when it ain't working, get out of it. Do something different.
Yep. Run.
Yep.
Run.
And that ain't working.
That was not working.
I'm sorry for Mel. She shaved her head on national television.
But the look is good for her.
Yeah.
I think it makes her stand out from everyone else in the division. So
That's
she
true.
can still come out and be unique looking. So that's actually, I think, a bonus. I feel bad for Dr. Luther. Hopefully they find something for him to do. They finally brought him in, and he's like, "What? No, this thing isn't okay. No angle. All right, I'll just be back.
He's getting
in Japan."
extras day rate and enjoying catering backstage. So he's having a good time.
Extras day rate's not great.
I know.
You know as well as I do.
It's like $80 or something.
It's like nothing. It's like nothing. That's before taxes. Come on, man. That's $8 an hour if you're there for 10 hours.
Right.
Give me a break. All right. So coming up next week on AEW Dark, Jurassic Express versus Brandon Cutler and Sonny Kiss. That's going to be a crowd-pleasing bit of fun.
Yep.
Hikaru Shida versus Mel. Speaking of, we were just mentioning both those women. And Sean Spears and Colin Delaney versus best friends with Orange Cassidy. So it should be a good episode of Dark this week. That's a good sounding episode of Dark.
Who is Colin Delaney?
You'll see.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's it for AEW, guys. I wonder, let us know in the chat or in the Facebook discussion group what you thought about this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. But let's head over and talk about the other show that goes on Wednesday nights on NXT.
Daddy's home. Daddy's home. We'll get to Daddy, though. We got to start off with how this show opened. That was Trent Seven versus Finn Balor, which went about as you'd expect, with Finn Balor absolutely murderizing poor Trent Seven.
Which is kind of what he's good for. He sells really well. So
Trent Seven is just, he is aces. He's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Shocking how good that guy is. Just humbly amazing. Whereas Finn Balor is just amazingly amazing. So here's my question. Obviously they're trying to, this is all stemming from a little brawl that happened after Worlds Collide.
Right.
Finn Balor's taken out Trent Seven. I wouldn't be surprised if Finn and Tyler Bate had a thing as well, because they had some beef, and obviously you just killed Tyler's best friend. So, I could see it happening, but they're building up Finn to be big, bad, vicious heel, beating Ilya Dragunov, beating up Trent Seven. He's heading towards Johnny Gargano in Portland. Here's my one question about Finn Balor, Nick. And this really popped into my head when I watched him versus Ilya Dragunov, and people just can't help but cheer him. We're so used to him being a face. We're so used to him being a badass. Now he's a badass heel. And is he a dastardly bastard? Yes. Is he also badass? Like just cool evil guy? Yes. Is it going to be hard for the audience to boo him, or are they going to figure out we got to boo Finn Balor?
Both. I think you're going to have a mixed bag there. I think you're going to have people that will boo him because they understand the kayfabe dynamic, but there are also people that are just going to be Finn marks, and they're just going to cheer him no matter what, and they're going to boo whoever he's fighting against. So I think you're going to have a mixture of both of those, and it's going to make the Full Sail dynamic is really, it's an interesting experiment to do a live show there with that small of a venue, and I think this might. While it looks cool on the surface, I've been talking with Sheriff McDonald about this for a couple of months now, actually, since they went live on USA. And he's been like talking down about it, like they're never going to compete with 15 to 20,000 person arenas when it comes to numbers, and the Full Sail crowd can be, very exciting in the element of it. But is it going to bite them in the ass and come back around because they're not getting the exposure with the live events? Why are they not going on the road with the live show like everything? Like they should it's a no-brainer. And I understand the intimacy and the dynamic at Full Sail, but I feel like there's a missed opportunity there, and they're hugging on to something that if they let go of it, could be even bigger.
See, I don't know if it's a no-brainer specifically because we're having this discussion right now. I think that there's a lot of nuance to this that's not necessarily obvious on the surface, and that is the fact they have a contract with Full Sail to have these shows there for a certain number of these shows there. And as well, like it costs a lot of money to go out on tour like that. And they don't necessarily recoup that every time. NXT, we'll get to this in the news section, but there's some scuttlebutt going out there about how much NXT is actually pulling in from USA. And it's might not be that much. So NXT might still be a money-losing prospect that they're only doing because they want to compete with AEW and they want to create new stars from NXT that they can then use on the bigger brands. So, that NXT is their spending money to make money proposition, essentially. So as far as that's concerned, it's NXT's in a tough spot going opposite AEW. Visually, if you have them both on at the same time in, say, a bar, and people are watching both of them and going like, well, this one, look how many people are there for that. Oh, looks great. And then the other one, this little scrappy indie one, the matches might be better and they might have a better, women's division, but it doesn't look as impressive or as showy.
The spectacle isn't there.
Exactly. Yeah. And for me, I don't really need spectacle with my NXT. That's not kind of what I expect. I like the little intimate feel. But if you're having out there as you said, Nick, like a competition to AEW, visually, it doesn't hold up. And what are they going to do about that, given the kind of the hole they're in terms of how they can present? So,
and they're catering to the same 150 people every week because it's the only place you can see it is in Orlando.
Yeah. So, well, that means they have a very dedicated crowd that knows everybody, which helps.
I'd go every week if I lived in Orlando.
Right, exactly.
Duh. But I mean, are you kidding me? I've got NXT caliber shows every single week for what, like $20 you probably get in the door there? I'd go every week.
We have some Full Sail kids that listen to this show, so
Yeah, let us know.
Props
guys.
to you guys.
Yeah.
Let us know how it is. So fingers crossed for Finn versus Tyler Bate. Keith Lee. Keith Lee. Wearing the shirt. Keith is your new North American champion, and he came out the ring to tell us all that, and had a nice little moment with the fans before being interrupted by Damian Priest, who came out. Who came out?
I want that title next.
Well, here's the funny thing: is Keith Lee has like his whole, his very like showy presentational kind of promo style. That's right. You're going to bask in the glory that is Keith. Indubitably, you will find out. He's got like a very almost kind of like Velvet Rock. You know what I mean? Like he's like the Rock if he was made out of velvet, like a 70s soul singer.
Crushed velvet. Yeah. Oh.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
soft,
that's kind of his style.
Smooth. Yeah.
Like the Rock meets Dusty Rhodes meets like I don't know, Lando Calrissian.
Val Venus.
Well, no, not Val Venus. Sit down, Nick.
What?
No, you're done. No. That's a no. Bad, Nick. So he comes out, he cuts one of his Keith Lee promos, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, Keith Lee. And out comes Damian Priest. And Damian Priest, as we always kind of like make fun of on the show, Nick, His voice is awesome.
Yeah.
Right? That deep, hey, Keith, I'm here and I'm going to take your title. But what
and
he
all
says,
the girls here. Oh.
right, yeah, I'm used to getting what I want, whether it's women or your title. Like, his delivery was, what he was saying was just so flaccid, for lack of a better word. It was just no punch, no charisma to it whatsoever. And I was like, no, Damien, come on. You've got everything going for you. The look, you can wrestle. You have the voice is so cool. But then what you're saying, you act so casual when you're talking. Yeah, I get what I want. I'm Damian Priest. So that sucked until Donovan Dijakovic came out and said, no. I want a shot at that title, so step back, you Marilyn Manson knockoff. Oh, them's fighting words, Nick. Them's fighting words. And sure enough, we immediately had a match between Dijak and Damian Priest, which was awesome. It was a big man match doing big man things that they shouldn't be doing, like top rope poison ranas. What are you doing? You gave Dijak a top rope poison rana. I was like, well, that's it. He's dead.
They've been to Kota Ibushi wrestling school, and they all hate their necks.
Exactly. Oh God, that scared the crap out of me.
No shit.
Even
the guy that's giving the Rana is going to come down on his head.
Oh, it was just
and the wrong inch one way to the other. Just you're dead. You're paraplegic.
And yet, it didn't finish the match, Nick. It wasn't a match finisher. And no, poison Rana off the top rope to a 6'7" guy. Nope, match still goes on. And ultimately, the guy that ate the poison Rana wins the match. Dijak wins with a feast your eyes. Which, by the way, beautifully executed. Priest stole it great. Looked awesome. This was all very fun. But Dijak now looks to be your number one contender. Are we going to see? It's not official yet, but I mean, there's two things. Nick, do we get Dijak, Keith Lee for the North American Championship? And what happens with Damian Priest now? Is he just there to kind of put guys over?
Where's Killian Dane?
Who?
Exactly.
Yeah,
where's he been hiding? I think Priest is going to find another feud. I don't know who it's going to be. I was wondering if Dane was going to show back up and renew that feud that they were kind of kicking up there for a little bit. I love the fact that we're going back to Dijak Keith Lee. The dynamic between those two and the chemistry in the ring is unmatched. It's like the chemistry we'd see between Ciampa and Gargano. Like they've been working together.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Sure.
Like it's just
they've been working together so long. They don't even
Yeah.
have to call moves to each other. They just know what's coming, right?
We assume.
It's that kind of chemistry that they've got. Anyway,
Totally.
I'm not mad if we get another triplet of matches
No.
out of these two for the North American Championship.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I wonder if it's too soon though, I guess is what I'm saying. Like I feel like Dijak should be kind of a final boss thing to Keith where he goes through a couple of guys and then Dijak comes back around into his life and is like, hey, remember how we used to tussle?
Yeah.
Let's tussle for that belt, So it's strange to me that Dijak seems to be the first one.
Good old boys hanging out on the pasture fence with a chow in.
You are from the South.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious where they're going with Keith. I'm curious where they're going with Damian Priest. I feel like there's a disconnect with Damian Priest's character. Like it's just not quite clicking in,
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe a conversation for another time. Let's talk about Daddy. Let's talk about Daddy. Oh, Daddy. Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa is not messing around. They are finding a way to make him a Sicilian psychopath, but yet a face. He took a metal pipe and demonstrated to an interviewer that, yes, he's going to go out and hunt him some Undisputed Era. And next thing we see Undisputed Era laid out in the back alley. Ciampa walking by with a ripped shirt and that pipe still in his hand. He's taking them all out except for Adam Cole. Goes into the ring, grabs a table, grabs a spray paint can, sprays a big old yellow X on the top of that table, and throws down the pipe. Adam Cole's outside looking at all his fallen buddies going, what the hell's going on? And he walks into the arena with Ciampa. Says, who do you think you are? What are you doing? Tommaso Ciampa goes, I'm Tommaso Ciampa. We're going to sign this contract for this match in Portland, and then I'm going to powerbomb you through this table with the X on it, and that's how this is all going to go down. awesome. And the great part about this, Regal comes out and goes, he's already signed the contract. He doesn't care who he faces. Like, he's going to fight you. And Adam Cole's like, that's right. I'm going to fight you right now. And he storms down to the ring. And I'll be damned, Nick. Tommaso Ciampa powerbombs him through the damn table.
Yep. Speaking of prophecies,
he did what he said he was going to do.
And then somehow, I didn't see, did he stab himself with the pen or something? How did he get poked in the top of the head where the blood was coming out?
I almost feel like maybe the belt like tapped him on the head or something and split him open.
But I'm not sure. He had blood running down his face. It dripped onto the belt, and then he took and wiped his hand and wipes the contract.
Oh, he sold that blood. He knew he was bleeding, and he was like, "All right, let me get some mileage out of this blood."
Yeah.
Adam Cole is lying dead in front of him. He picks up the contract. Whole audience starts chanting, "Sign it in blood!" And he goes, "All right," signs it, and then wipes the blood from his forehead onto the contract, throws it down. Everyone's ah! And then, as you said, Nick, he grabs Goldie. He grabs the title belt and kneels over her until the blood runs down on Goldie and holds it up. Oh, he was having so much fun with that blood.
I wasn't sure whether we were going to summon some kind of NXT blood god, or if something was going to, is that the seal that unlocks the first seal of the apocalypse or something in NXT? Like, are we going to get mystical with it, with that kind of stuff? Like, you know when they do those kind of movies where they're summoning something and they drip the blood of something on the, I don't know.
Where did your head go?
Where's Damian Priest when we need him to come out and talk about this
kind of stuff? This is a new level
of
Nick booking.
You're right.
What the heck?
Ciampa's
going to summon Gozer, the 53rd demon of the Baphomet apocalypse.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Oh, my God. Choose the form of the destroyer. Yeah. No, come on, dude.
What did you do, Ray? Anyway,
Adam Cole, when someone asks if you are a god, you say yes. So I'm digging. I mean, Ciampa looked like $1 million here. He looked like an absolute, like a psychopath you can root for, which is, of course, what he's supposed to be. Adam Cole looked like a brave champ who just is a little bit out of his depth with this new challenger. Is it too soon for Ciampa to take the belt?
No. I think 2019 was the ascension. I think it looks like they're mapping 2020 out to be the downfall, And if they run it throughout the course of the year for them to lose all of the belts and fight kicking and screaming in the process, I think that'll be equally as entertaining, if not more so, as we rise new talent, bubble up some new talent to the top, like Keith Lee, like Dijak, like Damian Priest, like Swerve Scott for the other championships, right? The tag championships. We've got some. Let's see what happens with the tag division. Are Forgotten Sons finally going to get something out of this whole thing? Who knows?
Oh, no, they're not. Stop, Nick. Just let them go. Let them go. Let them go. It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
I will not be. They will not be forgotten to me.
Bebosh, they're forgotten to me. Bebosh in the chat. Bebosh been with us for a long time. He says it was actually the microphone that busted open.
Okay.
That's absolutely correct.
What's up, Bebosh? I hadn't seen you in a minute. Good to see you,
Thank you, sir. So, yeah, looking forward to all of that, minus the Forgotten Sons part.
Yeah.
So, Nick, Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai had a match. Tegan, very, very serious coming out to this match. And this was a nice... So, at the time, I thought this match was way too short. It was nice and vicious. They obviously are having a really strong feud. They built up the hatred between these two. It's great. Friends turning on friends and all that. But I thought it was too short, and it looked like it was the end of this feud because it was just so definitively Tegan Nox wins. Boom, that's done. But now we're hearing there's going to be a street fight between the two of them at TakeOver Portland.
Okay.
So, do you think
I thought this was done after Wednesday. I guess not.
That's kind of what I thought too, but because it seemed pretty definitive. Dakota just got her ass beat, and Tegan Nox looked strong. Did that leave enough open for a street fight to you with this? Because I'm not mad at this. I would love to see both these women work more. I think Dakota needs to show off her vicious side. Nox needs to get over. She's never really had a chance to, because she just gets injured immediately every time. So this could be good for both of them. It probably will be good for both of them. But did this match help that? Did it help set it up at all?
No, this was treated like a blow-off between these two, and that's why it does. That's why does not compute. We're having problems putting all of this together. Am I mad at a Tegan Nox Dakota Kai street fight at a TakeOver event? Hell no.
No.
am I required to care how we get there? I mean, I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that I'm invested in the story from all the way back at Survivor Series at this point.
I'm just shocked they didn't leave this match more open-ended if they were going to have a street fight at TakeOver. I guess
War Games, excuse me.
Right. But I'm saying, like, if you have this match, why not have it be open-ended? It ends in a brawl, pull-apart brawl. They're using weapons and items, and Regal's suddenly up in the crow's nest being like, fine, you two want to wrestle with items and weapons? Well, fine, you're going to do it at TakeOver in a street fight.
One more level. If you're going to really blow it off, do one of those crazy asylum matches with all the weapons, in a cage. No.
That's further down the road.
All right.
We got to work up to that. You can't just have that immediately.
Apparently they are. They're having a street fight.
It's just a street fight. It's not an asylum match.
So street fight's just a no GQ match. They can bring anything they want, right?
Yeah, it's like weapons and whatnot.
All right.
Yeah, it's not like they're in a cage with like stuff hung on the walls. That's further down the road, man. Keep it in your pants, Nick.
2 women enter, 1 woman leave.
Sounds like Friday night at Nick's house.
Yeah. Well, come on.
Shotzi Blackheart has an awesome entrance.
Yes.
The first time that's been seen in NXT, by the way. But she came out with, she got the great, like the little old Kaiser helmet on, and comes out in a little mini tank.
Now, is this shots fired at Sammy Guevara for doing the thing with the little tank and microphone?
No, this has been Shotzi for a while.
Okay.
This is I'm loving this, because when she first came back out, I'm like, oh man, I wish she'd bring some of that stuff she used to do in the indies. Here we go, starting to do it, starting to give a little bit more of that Shotzi character.
Yes.
They're obviously high on Shotzi because she went out there and worked with Deonna Purrazzo, who is, I think, from what I understand and from what I've seen, a better technical wrestler than Shotzi Blackheart is, but doesn't quite have the star presence that Shotzi does. So this was an interesting dynamic to see these two work together. But I mean, okay, so Nick, watching this, what did you think? Like, did you feel like you saw a future for either of these women? Like, what's the ceiling? What's the ceiling for both these women?
Beyond the generation that's currently in there now, if I can use the word generation, the Rhea, Bianca, Tony, Io, this iteration of the women's division, I think these two might be next. These two might be part of the next class of NXT. And we saw this kind of stuff happen with Belair. We saw it happen with Ember Moon coming up after Asuka, right? So we've seen this progression throughout classes of the women's division. I think even more so than the men's division, we've seen sort of defined classes. The matches we had with
that's how NXT works. Is
right.
once certain women get so big that they have to go to the main roster or they're headlining. I mean, although I think the dynamic might change because now they're saying NXT is its own full brand. How often will the main roster be vulturing the stars from NXT?
You mean like they did for Royal Rumble?
But they've always done that, and then they get sent back down and they don't get fully called up.
Okay.
Like, I'm very curious to see who's going to get called up now, if they're going to still do call-ups, like how that's going to work.
Yeah.
Because it is a bit of a different dynamic.
It is. I agree. But I think both of these women are incredibly talented for different reasons. One is extraordinarily creative and really knows how to work the crowd. The other one is kind of a technical sort of mastermind of wrestling. And I think that blends really nicely. I want to see the two of them have a feud, have a program. Let them work. Let them do their thing.
Well, speaking of the up-and-coming class, Chelsea Green and Caden Carter also had a match. And Chelsea Green, I think it was Caden Carter's first win on TV, like not in the Mae Young Classic. Like, this was her first TV win. Beats Chelsea Green. What is the idea of Chelsea Green now? It's like, we're going to bring her out. She's going to have a manager, but she can't win a damn match. What's the idea there? What's the logic there? She's coming out saying, I'm the greatest in NXT. She's basically completely ripping off Vanessa Bourne's whole gimmick. She's just going to lose match. What? What's the idea here? What are you seeing them doing here?
I think they need to go back and watch Lucha Underground and watch the dynamic between Famous B and, was it Sunny Kiss?
No, it wasn't Sunny Kiss.
Who was he representing?
Well, he was representing the little person wrestler. Oh, what was his name? Mascarita Sagrada. That's sorry.
Mascarita Sagrada, yeah. So,
yeah. Well, he represented a couple people, but that was one of the great ones.
Yeah. I want to see more of this manager character, like the 80s insurance salesman looking dude. I can't remember his name yet. It has
Robert Stone.
Robert Stone. The Robert Stone brand, right? So that's what I really want to see develop here. I'm not really counting wins and losses yet for either of these women. I think they are truly developing. And Kaden Carter, I have all the hopes in the world for. I think she's fantastic. I think that there just hasn't been a solid opportunity for her to come out and shine yet.
Yeah, well, we saw even in the Mae Young Classic how new she is to everything. I think she's been trained by Devon, so she's definitely got some good foundations and some good chops there. But has a way to go. But a great look, and I think that definitely a lot of potential. I'm curious where they're going with the Chelsea Green thing.
Same.
I'm wondering what the thoughts are. The fact that she was out there running her mouth after the match makes me think that might be part of her. Like she's just a heel that keeps losing, but wants to pretend that she's doing really well. I don't know. I'm. It's strange. I'm very curious what their mindset is on this. I'm also very curious why for 3 out of 4 times now in the Dusty Classic, 2 singles wrestlers who've been made into a tag team have won a tag team tournament. The Broserweights take out the Grizzled Young Vets in the finals of the Dusty Classics finals and the finals of the Dusty Classic finals. Good morning. So yeah, Nick, the Broserweights are going on to face Undisputed Era at TakeOver Portland, which on paper, I'm happy about. Come on, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle versus Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly.
I was mad.
But you were mad about it. Okay, so I knew you were going to be. I knew that as soon as they won, I was like,
my reaction was, God damn it. You have Zach Gibson and the Grizzled Young Vets who are awesome.
They got, but here's my question, Nick. Is the mentality they're getting put on the map because they beat Kushida, Alex Shelley, and Undisputed Era and made it to the finals? Like just that alone kind of gets them over and really puts them on a pedestal? Or should they have won the whole damn thing and gone to face Undisputed Era?
I think the Grizzled Young Vets should have won the whole damn thing.
See, my problem is I'm sorry, but Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle versus Undisputed Era is going to be a better match.
I don't disagree with that, but I oh God, I hate repeating myself so much. Saw it again. We're going to talk about it later again because it happened again on Friday night.
We are. Well, no, it didn't. Not really. Not really. Not according to history. Come on. Oh, okay. All right. Don't you give me those eyes.
All
right.
We love Ricochet. We love Aleister Black. It was just
Finn Balor, Samoa Joe.
It made my head explode because why? Why is it necessary? Those are 2 of the most over people in NXT. Why do you got to strap them with tag belts?
It feels to me like they don't have anything else going for these particular single stars right now, so they've got to elevate them somehow, keep them in big feuds. And the only way they can do that is by making them a tag team. And it's something that happens on the main roster all the damn time as well. It happens in every company all the time. You have 2 major single stars and just 2 packed of a top card. And you got to put them somewhere. And that's kind of what it feels like over here. We're also getting some, they're playing it like they're a thrown together team, and they just both happen to be really, really good wrestlers. And the dynamic between Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle is really funny. It's goofy.
I'm not knocking that. It's Breezango funny,
So what's your beef then? Is it just just on paper a non-tag team won the tag team tournament?
It's the principle of the thing, right?
Okay, so it's you and your principles.
Like 2 people don't just show up and, go win gold at the Olympics if they've never done figure skating before.
Well, it would be
years of work.
If they're a singles figure skater and they go and do a couples figure skating, and all of a sudden they win the couples figure skating, right? Or like you're used to doing the bobsled solo.
But that doesn't just happen in 3 weeks, right?
That's right, and that's an argument that we've made here before. Is the whole idea of the tag team division is that it's a different style of wrestling, and people who are tag team style wrestling masters should be able to beat 2 singles guys who are really good on their own, and one-on-one could beat anyone else but in this new style, they might not be as good at this style of match, even though they're so good one-on-one. Now, the problem is we've just seen it too many times, Nick, because there was a time where you'd put two singles guys together, and the fact that they could beat a tag team just showed how good they were. But the problem is it's become so much of a trope now, like, oh, throw two singles guys together. That's kind of dead. Now we just assume, like, oh, throw two top guys together, they're going to wipe the floor with the tag division because everyone in the tag division is a bunch of jokers. So, yeah, I'm a bit kind of arguing your side here.
Yep.
But again, as far as the principle of the thing, I kind of feel like those days might be past, and it's just you have to kind of just suck it up.
I'm just gonna have to eat that crow constantly, and just
But on the upside, you're getting Broserweights versus Undisputed Era at Portland, and that's going to be a baller match.
Sure, it will be a lot of fun to watch, and much like Ricochet and Aleister Black, give it a couple of weeks, and we'll probably never see him again. You know, I don't know.
Damn, you are bitter about this.
I am. I'm always bitter about this. This is one of my big pet peeves in wrestling.
The one aspect of this that peeves me a bit is the fact that the tag division is so thin right now that they had to pretty much pillage every tag team they had and throw together some new ones that didn't even exist, which they normally do, but it wasn't on this level. Like they were taking guys from the UK. Like there was every tag team they possibly had in NXT UK, and they still had to fill out this tournament. Wouldn't it have been a good time to bring up some new tag teams, create some new tag teams, and elevate the tag teams that you have? Because the division is so thin, it was an opportunity that they had to elevate some tag teams.
You could have had some brand new rookie tag team come in and run the card, and they. I
don't know about that.
Well,
that's kind of what this is. That's what the Broserweights are. Is a rookie tag team that ran the card.
No, they're not. It's completely different. An actual tag team that comes out established as a tag team. You know, that's the difference here. That's the fundamental difference. If Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle had been working together as a tag team, a la the Grizzled Young Vets, for a long time, and they came in and they entered the tournament, they weren't
always a tag team either, the Grizzled Young Vets. So at what point does a tag team, like when did the bar become the bar?
Do I have to play two theme songs for you to come out to the ring? You're not a tag team.
All right, that's okay, fair. So if they're still playing both their individual theme songs, then they're not really a cohesive unit yet. At what point are they a cohesive unit to you?
It took
beyond the theme song.
It took 6 months to get the kabukis clicking. You know what I mean?
I don't know. That's a good example, but sure, okay.
No, it's the most recent one to where they were playing most of their thing, and we're seeing it on Friday night now in another instance that I'm gonna about in a few minutes, but. The same thing here. We're playing both things, bro, and we've got to get the dun 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 dun. We've got to get those themes in because people mark out for it because it's tiny little Full Sail and they got to have their things. Kind of goes back to my point earlier.
I know you're not hating on the bro theme, are you? You were kind of mocking the bro thing.
It's very 1994 Snoop Dogg. You know.
Oh my God.
You know.
That's literally the point.
I know.
Listen, you did hear his theme in the Indies, right? You did hear Matt Riddle's theme in the Indies. Like they just basically did their own version of.
Of course.
Just check. Which was early '90s rap. Like that's literally what it was.
If they have to stitch you together, you're not a tag team. You're just two really good wrestlers that. Okay, cool. You're both good enough to overcome any advantages a legit tag team might be. And if that's the story you're trying to tell me that story. But don't tell me they're a tag team. They're not a tag team.
All right. Get off my lawn, you kids, with your singles tag teams. Brr. Clint Eastwood face. Brr. NXT Portland. NXT TakeOver Portland's coming up. The card as it stands right now, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the NXT Championship. Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. Undisputed Era versus the Broserweights for the Tag Team Championships. And then Ciampa versus Cole for the NXT Championship as well. And looks like now Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai in a street fight. I think there's room for Keith Lee versus Dijak 4 or someone for the North American Championship. Who knows? But that's a fat card right there.
Yeah, it is.
Is that possibility that's one of the best takeovers ever? What do you think?
I
up there.
mean, I
Good chances.
gotta see it first, before I'll even entertain that thought. Are you kidding me? Takeovers are like so stacked, man. This and that. If that's the card and they deliver, that's gonna be really good. Especially if they figure out how to shoehorn Lee Dijak 4 in there.
Yep, that's gonna be a damn good show.
Smokes.
A damn good show. One other quick thing before we move on, Nick. There was a little video package thing. It was 5 circles. 3 of them were on fire, the 3 in the middle. And in the middle of them, the numbers 5, 20, and 2 were all of a sudden showed up. What did you make of this?
I have no idea.
Really?
I don't know.
No thoughts?
No thoughts.
Okay. Did you know that next Wednesday is March the 5th, 2020? 2/5/20.
That'd be February.
February. Sorry, not March. Yes, February. But the point stands.
Okay. So what's going to happen on February 5th?
I don't know. But who do you know who has 3 little circles on their glasses?
The Dream.
Mm-hmm. That's my speculation. My total speculation.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
All right.
So keep your eyes out next week. Possibly might be seeing the return of the Velveteen One. Just a little speculation on the show, and if it does happen, you heard it here first.
Yes.
So Nick, that was NXT this week. Solid show.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a home run, but a solid show. It's hard to. I mean, compared to what it was like 5-10 years ago, man, we're spoiled, aren't we?
We are very.
We're spoiled. But it's hard to say that, Nick, when we also have to talk about Friday Night SmackDown.
I don't even know where to start with this one because listen, I want to start this off by saying we were very down by the end of the year on like things. Raw has kind of turned the ship. Raw has been rocking it the last few weeks. SmackDown, not so much. Like, again, even though something amazing happened that you're going to hear me mark the hell out for happened last night, it's kind of a lot of that I can't really just get behind.
Uh-oh.
So
let's
start off with the good.
Let's start off with the good. It was a Super Street Fighter SmackDown this week. For some reason, they were calling it Super SmackDown. Maybe it's a way to say that, yes, a Super Bowl. Maybe just because they wanted to put up there like a graphic that looked like Street Fighter. I don't know. All I do know is that we had the Intercontinental Title Championship on the line, and Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a match that I'm kind of shocked wasn't at Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Why would you not have an Intercontinental Championship match at Royal Rumble, Nick?
Because we didn't want to have any titles to change hands at Royal Rumble for some reason. This would have been a perfect one to check that
kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
Kind of wild. And put maybe say, I don't know, Lacey Bailey on this show. But no, maybe they wanted to goose the ratings. I don't know. I don't know what their thought was, but it wasn't like it was a long match, Nick. It was 10 minutes and under. And next thing we know, Sammy and Cesaro have pulled the turnbuckle off of one of the sides of the ring. Shinsuke tried to put Braun's head into it. Braun put Shinsuke's head into it. Shinsuke's KO'd. And 1, 2, 3, Braun Strowman is your new IC champion.
Braun!
I mean, I know you're happy about it, but
yes.
What?
In the words of The Rock,
it just felt
finally.
Okay, but wasn't this kind of an ignominious way to give him the championship? Like out of nowhere, not on a pay-per-view, even though you had the chance to do it at a pay-per-view, in a questionable manner, which, the plot is afterwards Sammy is beside himself and saying it's complete, it's bullshit and we're gonna fight this, and obviously this feud is not over, but they wanted this title on Braun. So what was the Nick, help me. What was the thought here?
Why did you give this away on TV? Well, 2, it makes me think it's transitional. Also, it makes me think 3, is this a reset button for Braun to try to reset him from being the dancing, singing monkey that he has been made into over the last year, really? Is he going to be the big bad monster that flips trucks over again when he doesn't get his way or somebody pisses him off? I want that Braun back. is this a reset button that we're going to get that Braun back, that he's not messing around? He's done with Sami Zayn and Shinsuke. Cesaro is a flea that he's just flicking out. You know, all of that. Fine. Who's next? If this turns into a whirlwind of Shinsuke and Braun matches, I'm probably going to be upset about it.
Well, and yeah, if Sami Zayn's saying, well, we have a gripe with this win because obviously Shinsuke got knocked out by a turnbuckle, and so he's, he can say, oh, it's not legitimate or whatever, and this turns into a whole feud. Well, it's heel stuff, man. But if this turns into a whole angle, how much legs does this have when this didn't really have any legs to begin with?
That's why I think it's kind of a reset. It's a reset for the title that has been dormant for the better part of a year, and it's a reset for Braun. Sammy's little faction is going to live on, and it's fantastic, and I'm enjoying the work that Sami is putting into this. I think it's going to continue, but I think they need to figure out what the hell to do with Shinsuke.
Okay, so Shinsuke held the title for nearly 200 days. Guess how many times he defended it?
Twice.
4 times.
4?
Including this match.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And no wonder, people kind of forgot that he was the champ.
Or forgot about the title altogether. Or that they changed it, It's completely new belt.
We were saying, like, when this all started, if Braun gets the championship, he probably should at this point just to try to get excitement on the belt. But, at the same time, like, what are they going to do with it to keep it exciting? He can defend it a lot and just beat people, as it's Braun. But was this perhaps a setup for WrestleMania? We needed to get the title on him so he can have a match at WrestleMania. What do we do now with Shinsuke and the boys? Like, yeah, there's a lot of questions still hanging in the air from this. The fact that it was such a quick and out match was disappointing to me. And yeah, it's just, and on top of that, to kind of drive it home, at least for me, was as Braun is celebrating, holding the title up, obviously very happy that he's got the belt. They have a 1/3 graphic of the main event of the night blocking most of your screen. So they can't even give him the moment of winning the belt without being like, by the way, we have a main event as well. Don't forget about our main event.
Don't forget your loser eats dog food.
Someone's going to eat dog food. Someone's eating dog food. Yeah, big guy wins belt, but someone's going to eat dog food. So that's the whole thing to me. I wanted to be happy that Braun Strowman won his first singles belt in WWE. But so many other things around this brought it down.
Yeah.
And you're a big Braun Strowman fan.
Big time.
Did you feel the same? Was it the same thing for you, or were you just like, I'm happy for him, don't care?
I'm happy for him, don't care. But as a wrestling fan journalist, if we want to call it whatever we call ourselves, I'm looking at this in
talking heads.
Yeah, I'm looking at this in the bigger picture and going, okay, what does it mean? What are they trying to do here? Is it a reset for Knock? Is it a reset for Braun? A reset for the title? Is this the first step in a program that's going to build to Mania? Is Miz coming back into the picture? Who knows? Who knows where all of this is going to end up? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to come next. I think we're going to get told pretty quickly because Braun is one that's going to be out there with the title, showing it off, defending it, and I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
There was also another little ancillary aspect to this, which was Elias interrupting Sami Zayn ranting backstage. Elias is out in the ring playing a guitar. For some reason, this interrupts Sami's conversation backstage. All right. And Elias keeps insulting Sami until Cesaro goes out there to shut him up. And instead, Elias beats the crap out of Cesaro. So Sami and his boys just get humiliated 7 ways from Sunday on this show. And I'm not going to lie, Nick, I can't stand face Elias right now. Cannot.
I know you can't, and there's a lot of people that don't like it, but y'all can all suck egg, because I love it. I'm enjoying the shit out of it.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you do. Nick, did we mention that someone's going to eat dog food?
Hey, in case you guys weren't aware, in case you didn't hear it the 27 other times Maggle said it, the loser eats dog food in the main event.
Loser eats dog food. Show starts with the Roman Reigns and the Usos out in the ring talking about
the most exciting part of this show is speculating what was actually in the bucket, because it wasn't Butcher's Blend dog food, and we were pretty convinced it was either cans of refried beans or like chili no beans.
I don't care what it was. It looked hideous, and that was kind of the point of it. Roman Reigns Usos out of the top of the show saying, it sucks that we lost the Royal Rumble, but At least we kicked Corbin's ass. Corbin comes out and says, no, you didn't. And Roman Reigns talks Corbin into having a 3-on-3 loser eats dog food match, which has been speculated for months now that someone in the back, Vince, got a wild hair up his ass that he wanted someone to eat dog food or just have more dog food involved in the show somehow. And here we go. We got it. We got a loser eats dog food match. The entire show, we had some poor PA at the top of the ramp stirring a giant bowl of what looked like, warm feces next to a big can of dog food. Oh boy. It looked like the morning after a Taco Bell run. Yeah, it was.
That'll get all the little 12-year-olds going, he's stirring the poop.
He's stirring This was about the most 12-year-old thing I can remember seeing recently because long story short, we had a match. Roman Reigns won, so they tied Baron Corbin to a turnbuckle on the outside and this just doused the man in dog food and then posed next to him, a la fraternity prank.
He's got the poop on him. It's funny.
We covered him in dog food. Look, he's covered in dog food.
He didn't actually eat any of it, though. I thought the
loser
had to eat dog food.
Like some got into his mouth, like dripped into his mouth. He kind of went, patooey. Yeah, no one ate. This was supposed to be a loser eats dog food match. You're promoting the entire show that someone's going to eat dog food. Literally saying, someone's going to eat dog food. And at the end, it's just a hazing ritual where we get someone have dog food poured on them. Okay, we're out. Hey, everybody, look at the camera and smile. Look, we're Roman Reigns and the Usos, and we totally took you to the penitentiary and poured dog food on you. Okay, bye. What? This was 7 ways of dumb. First of all,
this might be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in WWE, period.
Hyperbole, thy name is Howell. But yes, I agree. I did not like this. I thought it was stupid.
Your number, the guy you want to be your top guy in the company, taking a spoon of chili and going thump and thwacking at him with chili or whatever the hell it is.
It didn't make Roman and the
him
Usos
looks
look
like a jackass. And
it
all of
Roman
the rehab that you've done on Roman Reigns over the course of the last year, you blew it all out of the water with that one thing right there. And all the little 15-year-olds and Vince were all, oh, it's funny.
Oh, Vince was back there just laughing his ass off.
You ruined all of the effort that Roman has put in.
I don't think it's ruined. It just, to say this ruined would be to go too far. It didn't help. Here's the thing. You want to do stuff that helps your guys. This didn't help anybody. All this help was your 12-year-old audience go, he covered him in dog. Roman got that Corbin back. That showed him. He bullied the bullies. Well, hey, that's a great response.
And you're mad at Face Elias.
If someone's bullying you, just bully them harder.
Yeah, right.
Okay, great. So yeah, now this was dumb again, and it's also I don't want to come across as being like petty, but if you're gonna say the loser eats dog food, have the loser eat some goddamn dog food. Right. Don't bait and switch. Like stick to your damn guns.
He needs to sit down with a giant wooden spoon and eat some dog food like a good loser.
It's not a hazing, right? It's not like loser gets covered in dog food, which is what happened, right? Don't say one thing and then do another, because then I'm sitting here going like, well, what? Not that I want to see either guy eat dog food. Let's be clear. I'm not sitting here going like, gosh, I can't wait for Roman Reigns or Baron Corbin to actually consume food of the dog. But if you're going to say you're doing something, that is the bait and switch stuff that WWE is getting known for.
Yeah.
Is we're telling you something that's going to happen. That's not what happens at all. And it's kind of like, oh man. Again, Nick, we sit through this because of the show. If I was just some random person and sitting through SmackDown and at the end it's just like a hazing ritual, I'd be like, oh, I sat through all this for that? Yeah. I don't know. I'm very curious to hear if I know there are people that are out there that were amused by this, that were like, this is Attitude Era, all written all over it. So I know there's people out there who are like, okay, that was funny, that was messed up, ha ha ha. And you know what? If this is your speed, cool. You're getting what you want from this product.
Yeah.
At this point, it didn't do it for me.
We got news that a couple of executives got the boot this week, and they may have been the sane voices in the room that allowed this to happen since they
Man,
were
those two, we'll talk about that in the news segment.
know,
Those people had nothing to do with this. Vince had an obsession with dog food for some freaking reason.
Like, we got to go back to that dog food thing from 2 months ago.
They didn't even give you the little Chihuahua Bark Roman intro that you love so much.
I know. Like, you could
just
have
had
at least
dog
given
food.
me that. Sons
Give me
of
what I
bitches.
want.
Yeah.
All right. So, Nick, now we're back to tag teams.
All right. This was hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because Nick's going to go on a rant again.
No.
Fatal 4-way tag match, Lucha House Party versus Revival versus Heavy Machinery versus M&M, also known as Morrison and Miz, or Miz and Morrison. The winner would face New Day in Saudi Arabia because, yay, we're still doing that. And guess who should win this match, Nick?
Ziggler and Rude.
Not one of the pretty much.
Yep.
So that's the last time we had a big old tag match like this was Ziggler and Rude won. Well, this time M&M won. Now, here's the thing. They were a legit tag team back in the day, Nick.
And I wasn't mad at this.
I believe tag champions, too, as I recall.
This was actually a good match. I enjoyed this. I thought this was fun.
So what was your beef? You were like, I'm going to get mad about the tag teams over on SmackDown as well.
We'll get to that one next.
Oh, okay. All right. It's something else. Interesting. All right. So you had no problem with this.
They still need to, like, if you're going to tag together, go back, bring back the stuff that they used to use. They're still coming out and playing separate entrances and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, my God.
So fix that. But that said, I understand that they used to be a tag team. I'm not terribly bent out of shape about this one. Plus, you had Heavy Machinery, Revival. Look at Metalik showing out, underrated as hell in this match. All kinds of stuff happening in this match that was fantastic. This was a brilliant tag team match.
Metalik, we're one of the greatest luchador-style wrestlers in the world, and he's just being hidden in the back of WWE during his prime years. It's a damn tragedy. At any rate, yes, this was a very fun match, as you said. M&M going on to face New Day in Saudi Arabia. Good luck to them. Titles never change hands over there. We'll see if they finally break that rule.
Nope.
Also, the Revival, there's rumors that they're asking for their releases again. Who knows if that's a bargaining tactic? We're going to go to AEW. You better pay us and make us tag champs again. Or if they're actually serious this time. And Heavy Machinery, they were a little disappointed, but things worked out for your boy Otis because he went backstage, and while he was bumming out came Mandy Rose. And he basically shot his shot, Nick. Tucker encouraged him, and Otis said, "You want to go for a date on Friday?" And she was like, "Nah, I'm busy, but I'm free next Friday." And then she and Sonya went out to have a match. And of course, Tucky took him a while for the Brontosaurus brain to kick in, but he was like, "I did some math. That's Valentine's Day. Dude, you've got a date with Mandy on Valentine's Day." Nick doing his best Otis impression. Yeah, of course you do.
Oh my God, my heart. Oh, my heart was just melting into a puddle. This was
the only wholesome angle on WWE is going to take another twist. We're actually going to get so you saying Otis and Mandy wedding at WrestleMania. Well, we're getting their first date on Valentine's Day. It could happen.
We've never had a WrestleMania wedding. I'm just saying.
This could be the year.
Hashtag Nick booking.
Beauty and the Beast. That's like the ultimate Nick booking right there.
Yes.
That is Nick booking right there. Is Otis and Mandy wedding at WrestleMania. It gets interrupted by Lana.
I might even write that into my bonus episode just to will it into existence.
Lana comes out and says, "No, I object."
Right, of course.
I'm really with Mandy. Oh, God.
Jesus.
Kill us. But then the match that Fire and Desire had after this was with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And they lose.
And
Bliss Cross wins.
Here's where my problem lies.
Okay.
Both of these teams.
What?
Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, they were tag champions for a minute.
Yeah. They have their own entrance now. It's a combined entrance.
Sure, it's just Alexa Bliss's entrance. Let's not kid
ourselves.
But
it's combined? So it's still a combined entrance. Cross.
And then you look over at are Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville a tag team or aren't they?
They are. Now they have a combined entrance now too.
No, they don't. They played both their teams.
But they're smooth together. They have like the one Tron. They're on each side. Like it's more of what they used to have. It's more than what they used to have when Sonya just came out to Mandy's entrance.
All right. You guys know
That's
how
what
I
I'm
feel about
saying.
it.
What do you want?
What do I
You're getting
want?
what you asked for. You're getting what you asked for. They're having combined entrances. They're both being presented as tag teams.
Did you? No, the entrances were completely separate.
They were.
They were. They played both tracks.
They came out of this. Yes, they switched back and forth. They need to
Sonya
make the
Deville
tracks
came
a little
out
bit more
first to
smooth.
her punching thing that she does and fast music, and then it was the sexy, sultry music of Mandy Rose. Cut over to.
They need to do something about that transition. But it was like the graphics were combined. It's like, here's the one hot one, here's the angry one that's going to kill you, and the graphics were on the same Tron. It wasn't like here's one graphic, here's another graphic, here's both of their entrances.
It doesn't matter. Alexa Bliss won again. Who gives a shit? At some point, they're going to let Mandy Rose win something. So, and they're going to give Sonya Deville a chance to be relevant at all.
I don't know why you're mad. She's going to win Otis.
Well, that's fair. Well, Otis is the real winner there.
Dude, they lost this match, but they're having a full-on storyline angle on on TV right now. What are Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross doing?
True.
They're winning this, and they may go challenge the Kabuki Warriors, get the titles back, and then continue with the breakup angle that we suspected was going to happen, because now they seem like they're back invested in that storyline. That could be something that happens at WrestleMania, where you have the tag team championships involved, the women's tag championships involved, and then we go back to that storyline to kind of like put on the sideline for a while. So
I like that.
Like I'm saying, it's not all doom and gloom.
It's not, but Alexa Bliss is not the end-all be-all of women's wrestling, and at some point, like, let her lose, right? Let somebody else have She's had like 27 matches with Mandy Rose in the last month, and won every single one of them. Are you telling me
it could be so much worse, man? You remember Bayley and Sasha versus the Riot Squad from a year or two ago? Like, that just never ended. They had like a million matches together. This is way better than that.
All right.
And now it looks like with this match, they've set Alexa and Nikki on a trajectory towards the tag team championships. It served a purpose.
Sure. Yeah, just jobbing out to Alexa Bliss.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Listen, I do love that they have found this organic angle and that they're pushing it every single week, and we're seeing it on TV. With the exception of like 2 weeks ago, they didn't do something with it, but we've seen this kind of progress every single week. Keep doing it. It's the best thing SmackDown's doing right now, in my opinion. Build something organically like that. Fiend Daniel Bryan strap match, meh. Otis and Mandy going on a date on Valentine's Day.
What do you mean?
You have my attention.
What do you mean, meh? That match was awesome. That match was way better than it had any right to be, the strap match.
That is 100% true, and the promo that Daniel Bryan cut.
Questioning his career, saying that this time he went home and Birdie's like, let me see your boo-boos, and this time Bree goes, no, it's too much.
I only can hope that my daughter finds something that she loves as much as I love this. Oh!
Yeah, that was definitely a chill-inducing promo that he gave this week.
Stop being so damn good, Daniel Bryan.
Seriously.
Jesus.
How did he elevate that strap match into like probably one of the best matches on that show besides the Royal Rumble?
Right.
Like, unbelievable. I'm curious where they're going now, because obviously, he tried to go for the P. He like Icarus, he flew too high.
Right.
Yeah. Was burned by the sun. We also had Sheamus versus Chad Gable in a rematch of Royal Rumble with the same outcome, virtually the same match. What the? Have you learned nothing, Vincent?
I thought they were going to give Gable his win back here, and this is
same.
50 good old WWE 50-50 booking, but nope.
Instead, we have good old-fashioned WWE rematch. Let's do the same match again, same outcome, nothing changed about it. What?
It was basically a replay of the same match, and
what?
If there's any positive optimism to take out of this, is that they'll take that Shorty G gimmick out back and put a bullet in his head. Take it out behind the barn and shoot it, because it's done. Stop it. Move on. He's an Olympic wrestler, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's like, please stop calling him Shorty G. And not, especially if he can't beat Sheamus. It's like, no, believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, good things will happen. No, they won't. You're gonna get bro kicked to oblivion. What lesson are you trying to tell us here? Oh, it's ridiculous.
Last but certainly not.
SmackDown.
Last but certainly not least, Naomi came out and said SmackDown Live, which I just wanted to call out. It totally kind of didn't mean anything.
I was saying that for weeks.
I
Thank
know.
you. I almost forgot the Naomi part. We should probably talk about that because it's really important.
Okay.
Bayley came out to crap on the crowd and was interrupted by Naomi coming out in a dead mouse mask without the ears. Her new weird raver headpiece.
I love how Corey was selling this like, oh, we don't really know who's in there, and takes it off and the fro pops and goes, oh, it's Naomi.
Oh,
of course
Ciampa.
it is. Like everybody, just generic, all generic wrestlers have the same glow entrance as she does. Oh no! Oh, it's Naomi. We weren't sure before she took the mask off.
That's like I just made the joke, and I'll make it again because I love running jokes into the ground. But it's like Kevin Kelly in New Japan. Hey, it's Hanma. I'm gonna do that from now on. Hey, it's Naomi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she came in with her new headpiece and a whole bunch more lasers, and basically said, Bayley, you ain't never beat me. You have my attention.
Yeah.
Naomi versus Bayley. All right.
Naomi's a 2-time champ.
Shake it up.
Write the bill. Let's have a good time. You know.
Yep. Last time she was in WWE, she was on Raw, but that's beside the point.
Right. Doesn't matter.
She's on SmackDown now. Yeah. Okay.
None of that ever. Right. When has that ever mattered before? That's the question.
Hashtag WWE logic.
Indeed.
And that was SmackDown.
Well, thank you very much, guys. And to close things out here, we are going to end with our moment of positivity.
The mop.
The Surrey and Dangerous.
Mop time.
What made you the mop time? What made you happy? Happy this week?
Oh, I mean, I've got to go with Ciampa just being daddy.
Okay.
Like that whole part when he's in the ring, and I love the concept, and it's not done often enough in storytelling, but maybe that's for a good thing, so it's not overused. But I love when the good guy says he's going to do something that sounds really extreme, and then he just does it. Like, I'm going to take you I'm over the side over there. I'm going to shoot off both your kneecaps. Then I'm going to do a backflip, then jump onto that goat and ride off into the sunset. And then he runs over there, shoots him in the kneecaps, does a backflip, gets on the goat, rides off into the sunset. He does exactly that. Does exactly what he says. Comes out there, spray paints the table. See that big X? I'm going to power bomb your ass through it. 5 minutes later, he power bombs his ass through it. I love that.
Me too.
I love that. And especially because there is, and there has been, the pandemic of the dumb babyface in WWE, where he just kind of like dopely walks into the bad guy's plans and he has to fight his way out or whatever. It's always great when you see, and it's happening on Raw right now with Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, when you see a good guy being proactive about the bad guy, having a bit of an edge, going out there and
Edge.
What?
On this day, I see clearly. It just triggered me. I'm gonna have a little hot button every time somebody says Edge. It just
one of us is gonna start singing.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like a Manchurian Candidate. Like every time someone says Edge, sing the song. Yeah, no, it's got to be Ciampa saying what he's gonna do and then just doing it.
You're right.
Because that just tickled me pink.
Yeah. Mine's easy. Otis Dozovich has a date with Mandy Rose on Valentine's Day. Are you kidding me? Does it get any better than that, guys?
I know that's going to be yours. Like the actual date was going to be yours for that week too. Like it's just going to be consistent. Oh man, that's funny.
I can't wait to see SmackDown next week. Seriously.
Wow, with one segment they've got you hooked.
Oh no,
this is dog food.
I have been on this train.
At you in the world.
I've been on this train since the beginnings of Instagram when Otis was making out like she was already his girlfriend.
Right.
Like 18
this
months
has been
ago.
Going for a while.
This has been going on for over a year.
Oh, like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like long time.
Both of them were in NXT
time.
when this started. It's transcended to the main roster now. And on to Fox. This is what and it's brilliant.
Oh.
It's organic and it's happened naturally.
What was his name? The guy who used to tag team with Riddick Moss? Sabatelli. She's actually dating Tito Sabatelli, who's basically just like
a chiseled god.
Tall, chiseled, greasy son of a bitch who just looks like the kind of guy who would be dating a Mandy and driving a Ferrari. And you just want to hate him. But then like Otis is making it out like it's him. I'm just glad they finally made this into an angle, and it is like the most pure thing on WWE right now. It really is.
I love it. Well, thank you very much for that, and thank you guys. But oh no, we're not done yet.
Oh, what?
We've got just enough time for our other news lightning round. Beep 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 beep.
All right. Well, remember last summer where Corey Graves called out Mauro Ranallo for talking too much as an announcer and talking over his co-hosts, and it made Mauro freak out. He missed a couple shows and then turned off all of his social media.
Yeah.
Well, he finally spoke out about that.
Okay.
He said, Mauro says, "It was a blessing in disguise. I have nothing really to say about Corey Graves or anyone else in my professional existence in the sense that everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Everyone is able to critique everyone the way they would. I would never do something like that to a coworker, but that has been addressed. And if anything, I publicly thank Corey Graves because he was the straw that broke the proverbial back in terms of my social media activity. And I will say here and now, I had deactivated all of my social media since November, and I would implore everyone, especially those with mental health issues, to do the same.
Yeah.
Social media is so dangerous to those of us with mental health conditions, and I know in the media and our everyday lives now, people are being hired and fired by their social media followings or the amount of information they post or how popular they are. I think it is a disease. So out of that situation with my colleague, I am no longer on social media. I will never get back on social media." So
I got to say this. If we didn't have the group and if we didn't do the show, I wouldn't be on any of it either. Let me give you an example.
If I did,
if you guys don't know this, by the way, go into if you have an iPhone at least, go into your settings and go into the Facebook app and make sure you turn the microphone off. Do that for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of them, because they're listening. And if you want proof, talk about something you've never talked about before, you've never searched for or done anything for, like, I don't know, QuickBooks or a Peloton treadmill. Both of those things Esther and I had conversations about, and
you're
then
about
all of
to
a
get
sudden,
more, yeah.
No, it's turned off now. But I mean, the microphone setting is.
You're literally speaking into a microphone right now.
I understand that, but not to Facebook.
I know.
The point is
on.
that they're
me.
all listening. It is toxic as hell. You are an advertising unit. That is all you are to social media. Nothing you say out there has any weight and is not going to sway anything anywhere. And I wish I could just get rid of all of it.
All right. This brought to you by Nick against social media. I'm with you, man. Like, honestly, I usually prefer promoting the show and the band and the bars, but beyond that, yeah, I learned my lesson a few years ago. Like, social media is evil. Yeah. Evil. But I will say this: our Facebook discussion group is awesome,
it is.
and I'm actually really grateful that we have that. So, gotta say that's actually. Also, if it wasn't for Twitter, we would not have been put into the situation we are now, Nick, which is that looking like there's a rumble about to happen, looking like a little, when you're a jet all the way. It looks like there's a rumble coming, Nick. Looks like Going in Raw has thrown down. One of our listeners threw us under the bus to Going in Raw, and now Going in Raw, and we are a little tension going on there between the two podcasts. Little tension.
Listen, let's make sure we describe this correctly. I want to make sure that we play out the timeline here. So Bill, because I outed him and I kind of feel bad about it, Bill posted in the group that we should revisit the dream match. Right?
Yes.
Let's give Going in Raw another chance to take Nick down from 2 years ago at WrestleMania. And yeah, I'll turn that spoon a little bit harder, guys. I'll play the promo again if you guys want to hear it. But anyway, I decided to take that and put it up on Twitter and just say, hey, Going in Raw, hey, Steve Larson, what say you?
Yeah. Then we got some good responses.
We did.
It looks like they're down.
We did.
Yeah. We got some Bring It Ons from them. So there may be some rumbles afoot between us and the Going in Raw podcast. Stay tuned. Back to the news, though. MVP may have wrestled his last WWE match. He said that he came back for 2 and out. He wanted his last WWE match to be on his terms. He wanted a match with Rey Mysterio, put over Rey Mysterio. That's why it was the way it was this last Monday. But again, talk about the tale of two superstars coming back. Edge comes back. Everyone's freaking out. We're talking about getting a button to sing his song. And MVP comes back and kind of went over like a fart in church. He was there. He got tossed by Brock. He put over Rey Mysterio, and that was it. It does seem a little... It's a little sad.
Normally, Nick, they do these kind of things as a last run before they get announced for the Hall of Fame in April, but I don't see MVP being a Hall of Famer.
I don't see MVP being the Hall of Famer. I mean, like maybe in like another decade when people look back at him the way they looked at The Godfather, and they're kind of like, oh, that was kind of a cool gimmick. Why not? Let's put him in there. But The Godfather had several gimmicks, of course, but whereas MVP just had the one. So even that doesn't really work. But it's strange to me that they didn't actually call that out on Monday Night Raw that this was his last match and actually give him the people like respond to it better. I don't know. There's aspects of this that I don't think we know enough about to get the full story. But according to him, that was it as far as WWE was concerned. AJ Styles is out for 6 to 8 weeks with a separated shoulder, thanks to taking that spot in the Royal Rumble. Took Edge's spear wrong. He says it was all his fault. He tried to sell Edge, make Edge look great, and he just happened to come down weird, overbrothered himself, as he said. And he's going to be out. Hopefully he'll be back by WrestleMania. That timetable does put him back in time to build a feud and be at WrestleMania. So fingers crossed AJ heals quickly.
Yes.
Little 205 Live news. That show is still on, and it actually was really good this week. Oney Lorcan's back.
What?
Oney Lorcan's back, and he came out to save Danny Burch after a beatdown after a match. So Oney Lorcan and Burch looks like they're back together, which is fantastic news.
Wow.
For everyone who's a fan of the Star Destroyer. Tyler Breeze also dropped a loss to Angel Garza. Garza gets his win back from TakeOver over Very Game Breeze. And Joaquin Wilde actually does win. He does win sometimes, just never on NXT, but he does win on 205 Live. But then again, it was only over Raul Mendoza, so, no big deal.
Right.
But actually a pretty good episode this week of 205 Live.
Huh, I'll have to watch that tonight.
New Japan's New Beginning in Sapporo was last night. We've also got night 2 tonight, so stay tuned for that. But night 1
Why couldn't they have had this card in Raleigh last week?
Or
earlier this week, I should say.
Because Suzuki ain't going to come to Raleigh.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just to Durham. Suzuki's not coming to Durham. Neither is Okada and Taichi. We had Moxley teaming up with the Kazuchika Okada versus Taichi and Suzuki. Whet your appetite for tonight and next week. Oh, it was tasty. Suzuki was biting Moxley. Moxley was slapping the taste out of Suzuki's mouth. It was all delicious stuff. And at the end, Taichi and Suzuki beat the crap out of Moxley and Okada. It was good. Ooh, it was good stuff. Ishii and Evil was not as good as I expected. I think Ishii's working hurt, to be honest with you, because he's looking pretty ginger.
Did he finally break that neck?
He doesn't have a neck to break, Nick. It's something else that's messing with him, I'm sure. Like maybe his back or lower back or something. I don't know, but he's they still beat the crap out of each other, but just not. It wasn't at the pace that Ishii usually goes. But you want to talk about pace? Not only did we have Hiromu and Dragon Lee getting back in the ring together and showing people what fast-paced wrestling is, but then you also had Shingo Takagi versus Hiroki Goto. And I'm sad to say that once again, Goto is a transitional champ and dropped the Never Openweight Championship to Shingo Takagi. That being said, Shingo Takagi is your new Never Openweight champ. And that's awesome.
I love that. He
is already like, people are lining up to face him for this title. It's awesome. I think that's a great call to put it on him. I feel bad for Goto, as I always do.
Yeah. It's kind of a perpetual state we're in with Goto.
He's just that dude. That is just like his role in that company. But very excited for Shingo and the matches he has coming to him. Holding that belt. So a lot of, because he can face heavyweights, he can face junior heavyweights. It's just basically everyone come for me. It looked like Sho was eyeballing him from the announcer's position. So maybe Sho versus Shingo, that would be a great match. I'm down for anything. And honestly, like Shingo Goto was a great match too.
Yeah.
Very hard hitting, as you would imagine. So check that out. Tonight on A New Beginning is Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. for the Rev Pro Heavyweight Championship.
That ought to be
and
good.
Okada versus Taichi, which is basically probably going to be Taichi being squirrely and then getting murdered. And then next week on the 9th is going to be Moxley versus Suzuki. So stay tuned. There's good stuff happening over in New Japan. Not such good stuff happening in the back boardrooms of WWE, however. The chief financial officer and chief revenue officer.
Yeah.
I'm not good at business. George Barrios and Michelle Wilson have, quote, left the WWE. We're not sure if they were forced out, which is the scuttlebutt that they were forced out.
They were voted out.
Yeah. So
they'll have to disclose
gone.
that on the earnings call coming up here soon.
which actually is the speculation, is that they are going to be the scapegoats for a bad business earnings call. That the numbers were going to be way low, and so they're being taken out as a preemptive strike, and then they can just blame everything on those two. We know from Cody interviews that George Barrios is not exactly. Cody's not a big fan of George Barrios. He says that he's one of the problems with WWE and probably how they look at money. Other people are saying, of course, the big problem is not anyone who's working from a corporate standpoint, but it is Vince himself who keeps shooting himself in the foot. Either way, Frank A. Riddick III is going to be the interim CFO. We don't have an interim CRO announced yet, but the hit happened. WWE stocks plummeted by nearly $10 a share. They lost $1 billion in total market value and down 25% on the last 36 hours since this was announced. So
I'm waiting to see where the bottom is so I can buy some more, because we're getting into, listen, I am not a stock trader. Do not take stock advice from Nick. Disclaimer. I'm just saying, I'm waiting for it to hit bottom, and then I'm going to load up, because what are we going into right now? Mania season.
WrestleMania season, yeah.
Merch is going to go through the roof. New shows are going to go through the roof. All kinds of good stuff is getting ready to happen. So, blessing in disguise here, potentially. You never want to see WWE use $1 billion in their market cap. But at the same time, this is an opportunity for individuals to become shareholders. So, much like, in disclosure, I am a shareholder. So, I do have stock. Not much, but it's more than a handful of shares. So, I'll say that.
You should have bought it 5 years ago when they were really at the bottom, and then
it's kind of about the time I did.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So
don't take stock advice from Nick, but yet
I am not a stock trader. I am not a financial advisor.
No?
But I'm looking into this as an opportunity as well. So
another news, Voices of Wrestling reported that USA might be paying WWE $0 for NXT. But then they got mad when Meltzer said that there's no way that's possible, and Reddit also called them out for being ludicrous. And then they went on the defensive and said, we never reported that, which technically if you read what they said, they didn't really report that. They reported more that it was a rumor. They said their initial tweet was, as discussed on both the new flagship and WrestleNomics Radio episodes released earlier tonight, an interesting aspect of next Thursday's WWE Quarterly Report will be just how much money WWE is receiving from USA for NXT. There are some industry whispers that the actual number is $0. So basically what happened was Voices of Wrestling reported a total speculative rumor, and then to their credit reported it as such, and it was picked up and everyone was like, what? And then backed off saying, this isn't a quote story. It is a casual tweet passing along an industry rumor. The tweet literally says an interesting aspect of the report will be just how much WWE is receiving for NXT, a total of which nobody knows until the Q4 report is made public.
Right.
So basically, Voices of Wrestling reported nothing and then got mad when people took it as something. Was how I just thought that was an interesting.
We had a couple of instances of that happen this week.
Yeah. It's just,
sorry.
Ringside News. Well, they're a whole different level of crap, but that's just a reminder to everybody. When you read something coming out from one of these news sites, make sure you just check how they're saying it, because some of these guys are putting out stuff just to get the hits and the tweets, and the retweets.
There's a reason we don't blog.
And there's really nothing to the story.
Because it's all clickbait, and none of these guys know jack shit.
Yeah, and just when they say it's an industry rumor, it usually means it's a bunch of smoke in the damn wind.
Yeah.
Chase Owens. This is a real story. Chase Owens signed multi-year deal with New Japan. He is in it for the long term. I don't blame him. He's getting to do a lot over there, keeping working. So congratulations to Chase Owens for re-signing. On a sad note, Bret Hart has cancer, but it is skin cancer. It's basal cell carcinoma.
He had a mole removed.
He's gonna get basically it's he's gonna get some skin cut off the next few days, and he will be fine. So don't panic if you see a Bret Hart has cancer headline. It's going to be okay. Another competitor announced for Bloodsport. Josh Barnett's Bloodsport coming up WrestleMania weekend. Killer Kelly. Killer Kelly has been added to the card. We don't know who her opponent will be, That's another damn good competitor. That's looking like a
Thunder
strong
Rosa.
card.
Please, Thunder Rosa.
I don't know if
Thunder Rosa, Killer Kelly.
but that would be pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at that. And finally, Ring of Honor, which is, at least for me, Nick, I mean, I'm getting back interested in Ring of Honor. They hit a really low point there around the end of last year with just a bunch of scandals and questionable booking. They're bringing back the Pure title. And if you don't remember that, it's because it hasn't been around for about 15 years. The last Pure title was unified into the current Ring of Honor Championship in a match between Daniel Bryan, back when he was Bryan Danielson, and Nigel McGuinness. So the Pure title, the Pure title is a title that it's got special rules for it, where you can't have closed fist punches. There's only 3 rope breaks allowed for a submission. So if in a match you use the rope 3 times to break any submission hold, after that, there's no rope breaks.
Wow.
That's at least some of the old rules. We don't know if they're going to reform the new rules or create new rules for the Pure title now, but it does seem like they're going to have a title that is only defended under certain specific rules for that title. I think that's a brilliant idea. There's not enough of those in the world today. That's a fascinating concept to have. And it's one of the things that kind of put Ring of Honor on the map is to, say we are pure technicality here. So yeah, bring it on. I think it's a brilliant idea. I don't know whose idea that was, but
Marty Scurll, he's running shit now, apparently.
Maybe. And if so, brilliant idea. All props to that. So keep your eye open for the Pure title.
So at New Beginning, he said at the end of it, he says, "I'm getting pretty good at this matchmaking stuff."
I mean, I can't argue with him.
Yeah.
It's going to be, let's see, they're going to have a tournament for it at Pure Excellence, which is February 5th and February 7th. So we don't know who's going to be in the tournament yet. We don't know when it's going to be crowned yet. Pure Excellence is coming up for Ring of Honor.
Supercard maybe at WrestleMania weekend?
We don't know when the Pure champion will be crowned, but, WrestleMania weekend certainly sounds like a likely thing, if not like a pay-per-view before that. So that's the news, Nick.
Nice. Thank you very much, Sir Ian Dangerous, and thank you guys for hanging out with us today on this episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast. Make sure you're in the Facebook discussion group. Make sure you find your link to the Discord community at any of our social profiles or in the description on this video below if you're watching on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, streaming live right here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and jingle the little notification bell so that you get notified anytime we go live or put up new content. And last but certainly not least, thank you to all of our patrons for being as amazing you are and being willing to give over your hard-earned dollars every single month just to get access to some show notes, bonus episodes, the ability to play in our patron pick'ems, all kinds of good stuff over at patreon.com/BWO if you want to support the show. You can find all of these links and more over at BWOpodcast.com. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.